Hey guys, and welcome back into the kitchen for another year of Jake Bakes. Now I know because it's the new year still, and it's still New Year's resolution time, I wanted to bring that into my kitchen, and so we're gonna do something a little different. No baking, we are actually going to be cooking and making some butternut squash soup. The great thing about this is that it's a plant-based vegan recipe, so if you are looking to make that switch over, this is a perfect place to start. I can't wait to make this with you, so let's get in the kitchen and let's get started. All right, so to get started, we're gonna go ahead and grab about a cup of onions that I've sliced up, add this to a large stock pot that has about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And now, we're gonna add 3 cloves of garlic. We're gonna saute these for about 2 minutes or so, just until they start to soften up some. Make sure to add a good pinch of salt. All right, now that we are nicely softened on our onions and garlic, we're gonna add in the rest of our big ingredients. I've got 2 apples for sweetness. A lot of people will add different things. They'll add maple syrup or sugar or coconut sugar for sweetness in this. I like the natural sugars that come out of the apples. We're gonna go ahead and add in our butternut squash. I've got 6 cups of butternut squash. You can buy this pre-chopped, which is what I really recommend you do. Butternut squash can be a little bit beastly to chop up on your own. So, give this a good stir. Make sure you're coating everything. And then to this, we're gonna add in our spices. I've got a whole tablespoon of curry. I'm using a mild curry. You can find this at your local grocer. It's very easy to find, and to which I've added about a teaspoon of coriander powder. And you want to add this in before you add any other of your wet ingredients because you want to kind of heat up that curry powder to bring out some of that flavor. And I'm going to pinch of salt again because you want to salt as you go. That way at the very end you don't have to add very much. And then a little bit of black pepper as well. As much as you'd like, more black pepper is obviously going to make it a little bit spicier. Now coat all of your vegetables in that delicious curry paste, or curry powder. Oh, that smells amazing. And if you don't like curry, you could always just sub out a sage version of this, where I use sage and more garlic and onion, just mainly riding that sage, but you can add thyme into there as well. It makes it absolutely delicious. Once that is done, I'm gonna go ahead and throw in a cinnamon stick and 1 can of coconut milk. 1 or 2, depending on how creamy you like. I'm using light coconut milk for this one. Make sure you shake the can well beforehand because it will have separated slightly. This is what gives you that creaminess without adding actual dairy. Perfect. Give that a stir. Let's see, there's nice and lots of flavor in there. And my secret ingredient is, instead of using vegetable broth, I'm using miso broth. So miso is a soy-based broth, and it adds a nice salinity to it, and it's just a really great, almost umami flavor. So in places that you're not using meat, this is a great way to add a ton of flavor. And I'm actually gonna add this entire thing until most of my ingredients are submerged. I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up to a simmer and let this soften up everything in here for about 15 minutes or until they're nicely tender. All right, so this looks great. It's nice, and you can see some of the squash is already broken up actually, so it's nice and soft. Now what we need to do to get that really creamy texture is to either very carefully move this over to a blender after it's cooled some, or use an immersion blender. That works. So we're gonna go ahead and just stick this in here and blend away until it's nice and smooth. Okay, I think this just needs a little bit more salt, and that'll be good. So now, I get to dish myself up some. Amazing. And I like to finish this with, just to add a little bit more silkiness, oh my God. I'm going to go ahead and drizzle a little bit of olive oil on the top. And then a touch more of coconut milk. I'm using whole fat coconut milk for this, just because we're just adding a little bit. We're not adding a ton. So now it's my favorite time. We get to try it. Oh, yum. It's like exactly what I would be craving if I just came in from it being cold outside, which I basically did, so this is amazing. Oh my gosh. It's one of those things where it's like, wait, this doesn't have butter in it? But seriously, it is so good. No butter, no animal dairy or anything like that. This is a great way to introduce more plant-based things into your diet. So guys, thank you so much for joining me in the kitchen today and for trying something a little bit new with me. I'll see you here next time on another Jake Bakes.